Thank God it's Friday. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 55 minutes of current and relevant business conversations. That's what we do on Business Morning. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and I'll start this journey as usual from the global oil space. It's a continuous decline in the price of global oil. They're set to snap a two-week winning streak, and that's despite settling higher in the previous session following a report that the United States President Donald Trump is not interested in returning to previous deal terms with Iran. So we saw a little bit of increase there, but that we see has dropped again 0.88% to $88.91 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures, that also dropped 0.86% to $82.80 a barrel. Both benchmarks are poised to end the week lower. Brent down 5.3%, WTI down 4.3%, and factors driving this are the Wall Street Journal reporting that President Trump's administration has repeatedly told mediators that he has no interest in reviving the June Memorandum of Understanding, complicating diplomatic efforts to restart talks. Earlier, Washington had said that it was not in talks with Iran despite diplomatic efforts by other countries to re-engage the two sides. But of course, we do know that Iran is in talks with Oman on revenue sharing from the Strait of Hormuz just to keep, the strait open and supply to the world constant. We saw a positive close at the NGX yesterday. Congratulations to investors. A bit of gain there. A 0.21% increase on the all share, and then we recovered to the 239,000 level after we 2 days ago dropped to 238,000 level. The market cap was 154.44. I believe we gained about 300 billion to bring it back up there. Volume and deals in the red. However, value was able to make it to the green at the close of trade. Top gainers yesterday, Omatech, Cornerstone, Mansard, they led the gainers. For the flip side, FTSE, Learn Africa, and Intelligence, they were down yesterday. Top trades had Zenith Bank, Access Co, and GT Co. They were the top trades most active in looking at volume yesterday. And yes, it's a big congratulations to the NGX group. After that confirmation by FTSE Russel that Nigeria is back to the frontier market status, it opens a new chapter for the country's capital market. FTSE Russel has confirmed that the reclassification from unclassified to frontier market status will proceed from the opening of trade on September 21, 2026. The confirmation follows an additional review after Nigeria moved to the T+1 settlement cycle in June, with concerns that the new cycle or the new system could create funding challenges for foreign investors. Following its assessments, FTSE Russel notes that no material settlements, operational or funding issues have been observed since the transition. For the NGX group, the return provides an opportunity to attract more international investment, deepen market liquidity, and increase access to capital for Nigerian businesses. So congratulations to all NGX investors and future investors. In the fixed income market, investors are showing stronger appetite for longer-term government securities, with the latest Treasury bills auction recording overwhelming demand for the one-year instrument. The Central Bank of Nigeria's primary market auction, investors submitted 3.63 trillion naira for the 364-day T-bills, accounting for 95.9% of the 3.79 trillion naira total bids across three maturities. The strong demand came despite a 44 basis point reduction in the stop rate on the one-year bill to 17.15% from 17.59% at the previous auction, signaling continued investor preference for longer-dated instruments. And Nigeria has recorded an average of 9,611 registered debtors in the first quarter of 2026. This represents 52.2% year-on-year increase and points to stronger credit activity. However, the figure was 88.5% lower than the record quarterly average of 83,370 debtors in the fourth quarter of 2025. And this has raised concerns over the consistency of access to credit for businesses and investment. Data from the central bank, a source from the National Collateral Registry, shows registered debtors rising steadily from 7,143 in January to 9,786 in February and 11,904 in March. About 91.4% of personal pension plan retirement savings accounts in Nigeria have remained unfunded at the end of the first quarter of 2026, and this is according to data from the National Pension Commission. PENCOM recorded 219,316 registered PPP accounts, but only 18,811, representing 8.58%, had received contributions, leaving more than 200,500 accounts without funding. Meanwhile, contributions under the scheme stood at 147.16 million naira in the first quarter, bringing total contributions since inception to 1.66 billion naira. And an economy that seems to be catching up on conversations around the world and even here in Nigeria is the halal economy. We hear groups and governments increasing their intentions to broaden Nigeria's penetration in the halal economy. And they had a meeting recently between the private and the public sector on how Nigeria can strategize to achieve this. The $7.7 trillion global halal market is receiving attention here as Halal 360 and the Metropolitan Law Firm bring together top government officials and players from the private sector to further conversations on how to convert Nigeria's potential in the over $7 trillion global market into investment, jobs, and exports, with a new national strategy targeting $12 billion in capital mobilization.
It is about shared conviction that the halal economy represents not merely a commercial opportunity, but an opportunity to build businesses and institutions that are ethical, inclusive, and are built to last.
One of the fastest growing economy in the world is the halal economy. As today, it is already over $7 trillion. As an expectation, it should achieve 9. So what is the percentage of Nigeria in that?
From the government, ethical financing, which is a part of halal, has already been adopted, and there are plans to scale.
Nigeria intends to be a serious and dependable partner in the building of this ecosystem, and we welcome the confidence you continue to place in our strategy. The measure of our success will not be the number of conferences we hold or the documents we produce. It will be the number of Nigerian enterprises that become export-ready, the value of halal products that leave our ports, the investment committed to processing and manufacturing, the jobs created for our young people, and the number of international markets that come to recognize Nigerian brands for quality, integrity, and reliability.
Nigeria has an Halal Economy Strategy Implementation Committee, which was inaugurated on March 3, 2026, with a mandate to coordinate the development and implementation of the national strategy. All right, it's an AI world, and there are so many questions that come out of it. We've heard a lot of reports of how entry-level jobs have been taken over by AI. Just this week, I believe I spoke to my colleague in London telling us about UK graduate jobs level they are not vacant anymore, and that's affecting a lot of people who run to the UK to school because they think they will get a job immediately after. Well, here back home, we do have a conversation led by Google. So Google say they have this AI tool for students, and we try to ask the question, have we come to a level where we balance the use of AI and all of that, and AI literacy and intellectual laziness? I hope we haven't gotten there. But with local Google search trends showing an 840% surge in the searches for AI literacy and a 140% increase in skill development over the past year, Nigerian youth are actively seeking intelligent digital study companions, backed by research from West Africa and all of that. So let's talk to Google about this so they don't allow our young ones and even ourselves to get too lazy depending on our companions. Let's find a balance. We have the head government affairs and public policy West Africa at Google, Mr. Adewolu Adene, joins us in the studio. Mr. Adene, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Yini. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's a lot of surge. We're talking about 840 searching for AI literacy, and then about 120 when it comes to skills. So we should be happy. At least people are searching for knowledge, and hopefully they're using it positively. But I mean, before we delve into what you guys are doing, how do we balance this? Because now it does seem you ask a child anything and the person is going to Google first.
No, you're absolutely right. As the numbers show, there's a spike in the resort to Google as a learning tool, which is traditional, which has been what people have always known us for as a point of information and news. But with this particular offer, the way we've looked at it is that historically, as technology has evolved, emerging markets such as Nigeria typically have been on the back foot. But with AI, we have an opportunity to access the same tools that a student in, say, Jakarta or London. It's the same AI tools that a student in Ibadan or Jalingo would have access to. So the thinking for us is that AI is there, the opportunity is there. What are the additional barriers that stand in the way of breaching that digital divide? And we identified cost as one of them, which is the reason why we have put out this offer, whereby we are offering Gemini for free to students of tertiary institutions 18 and above to aid them with learning.
18 and above, there's
Correct.
no limit. I can be a 50-year-old.
If you're a student and you're registered in a tertiary institution in Nigeria, public or private,
in
you are
Nigeria.
eligible. Correct. We're doing this globally, actually. We're doing this in about 27 countries in sub-Saharan Africa and over about 150 countries globally.
Okay, so how is the adoption so far?
The numbers are looking good. It's early days. We only just announced this, so I can't share numbers just yet. But I think that's also one of the reasons why we're here, to build awareness and drive understanding. We did this last year as well, and the numbers were quite positive. And I'm here in two fronts. One, as an employee at Google, to drive awareness and understanding of this initiative. And secondly, as a Nigerian, to support my fellow countrymen and citizens with acquiring the skill sets and the knowledge that they need to be at par and compete with their peers globally.
So adoption from students, and you say you did this last year, but there's also the need for lecturers and the teachers to also be a part of it, because, I mean, they still have to supervise the students. There has to be guidelines in place, you know, to still ensure that the students are using this ethically, you know. So how are the lecturers' response? How do you reach them?
So that's an interesting question. We've also heard from lecturers and teachers to say the same way you've put this out for students, you need to put out a similar package for lecturers and teachers as well. But I think specific to the question that you asked in terms of what that dynamic will look like, the way the AI Gemini offer for students is designed is that it doesn't particularly answer questions for you. Some of the stats that we've seen show that more than 70% of the responses that you get when you engage with the tool, they're more guidelines and discussion focused than giving you a flat out answer. So what that does in the learning, particularly at the tertiary level, which you must remember is the target group here, is that it prepares students for more meaningful interactions with their lecturers. There are additional tools in the Google Workspace environment or university, if I can use that expression, that teachers can also use to monitor what is going on there. But primarily for us, it's about giving students the tools that they can use to have more meaningful interactions with their lecturers. Again, I need to repeat, at the tertiary level, where ideally it should be an exchange of knowledge.
But the lecturers also have to hit that level, or else students might even know more than the lecturers.
No, you're absolutely right. And there's a suite of AI tools outside of this Gemini offer for students that open to everybody else, right? Students, lecturers, teachers, parents, even younger people beneath below that age bracket. The issue of trust, which you've also said is important, credibility, people being able to know that whatever is being learned there, it doesn't become something that becomes an ethical problem a couple of years down the line. But the way we've looked at this, like I said, is that it's a package that guides and aids learning. And ultimately, everybody who is involved in that learning dynamic, the students, the teachers, will benefit from the way the product is structured. I hope we get to somewhere in this conversation where I can share a bit more detail about the way learning is done.
Go ahead, please.
So if you look at the way the package is designed, there's a particular feature that is the default when you get into the student's offer, and it's called guided learning. Like I said earlier on, close to more than 70% of the responses that you will get when you interact with the tool, they're not flat out 1 + 1 is 2 answers. They walk with you through the learning and the thinking process, right? So the idea behind this is that we're not trying to teach people what to think. We're not showing people what the answers are. The tool is working with them from what is the problem, what is the challenge, and what are the steps that are required to get to an end. Many people call this, I think in education, it's called the Socratic approach to learning, whereby I'm not teaching you by rote where you repeat and you just 2 × 2 is 4, but it's actually what are the steps. And I think that the thing that that does for students is that the question you are alluding to earlier on, I'm not taking away your role as a thinker. You will still have to apply yourself, but think of this as like a learning assistant. When I was younger and I gave away my age here, you would go to school and you have learning groups, you would discuss among your peers. You still have to appear there with some level of knowledge, with some level of understanding of the issues. So that's basically what we're trying to do with the tool here. Help people to assimilate large volumes of data. How do you compress what will have ordinarily taken you days or even weeks to assimilate, compress those into chunk, bite-sized pieces that you can easily know what the key information pieces are, and then you can take that to build out your own independent stream of learning.
And all of this being accessed by students, I'm thinking of the infrastructure. Even when you do buy internet packages, how long does it last for? The electricity, the infrastructure surrounding this. This is a reality in Nigeria.
No, Ini, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I'd be disingenuous to say that that's not a challenge. But the way we look at it is this. We've played, if you look at our presence in Nigeria across the last 15 years, we've played across the full stack, right? We have commitments and investments in the area of infrastructure with the Equiano subsea cable, which is designed to drive capacity and access. We also know that there are other stakeholders in the system, right? The Ministry of Digital Economy are working on the Project Bridge, which is to enhance the intra-country fiber layout, if I can put it like that. In the telco sector, you probably heard the telcos talking all the time about how they are ramping up their capex investment to enhance, the network rollouts and capacity. So all of those things are moving pieces, and there will continually be issues that we will need to face. But the way we look at it at Google is that, like they say in the streets, you can walk and chew gum. We can fix infrastructure and build that level of equipment that we need, and at the same time, prepare the students who will leverage that infrastructure with the learning and the skills that they will need when infrastructure gets to the optimal stage.
And so far, so good, I guess.
I think that the early signs are encouraging, but again, that's really why we're here, to put the word out there. It's the...
Yes, so I'm asking because you did it last year.
Correct.
Yeah, so when you look at it from that experience, the adoption and of course the sustenance of it afterwards, that's what I'm really curious about.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that would help make a strong case for this would also be, we had good numbers last year. I mean, we had good numbers last year, but to help keep this and go to the point of sustainability would be to see even better numbers this year, right? There's clearly a need and an appetite and a hunger. You mentioned earlier on the 800% plus growth in search. The interesting thing about that is that we're seeing a shift from search for curiosity to search to utility. People are not just asking, what is AI? People are saying, how do I use AI for my physics lessons or for my math lessons and all of that? So with that shift from curiosity to utility, I'm confident that the numbers that we will see this year should reflect a greater take-up and actually strengthen the case for us to continue to do this on a sustainable basis.
And I'm curious that you mentioned that when we talk about this adoption and the usage and all of that, we're looking to build a future generation that is skilled, not just knowledge, not for use, but skills and knowledge to deal with the realities and the challenges of the Nigerian economy first, before going global. What areas are more active, when it comes to searches and all of that?
It's broad ranging. I think that's the interesting thing. There really is no cutoff or exclusion point. But to be specific to the offer, what we've seen and what we've probably picked up is that a lot of interest is in how do I extend this to my everyday learning, whether it's physics, whether it's law of contract, whether it's torts, whether it's applied science. There's a keen interest in saying that, how can I use this Gemini tool as a learning assistant to drive the learning that is my standard course of study, even if that tool didn't exist? So what we're basically trying to do is not to say that we are changing or we're taking away your personal obligation to learn. We're trying to support you on your learning journey.
But I think you guys should still think about the lecturers.
We will.
All right. Thank you so much for this free offer to the student. But how do they get on it, though?
Easy. First level, if you would like the extended version, even right now as you speak and as you hear me, you go to gemini.google.students. However, if the URL is a bit lengthy for you to recollect, very easily, just Google Gemini Pro free offer for students. You will see the drop down, how you register, how you get on board. Seamless.
So you need to be a student. That means you must have proof that you're a student.
So that's how we actually try to take away. That's one of the learnings from the version that we ran last year. Cutoff age, like I said, is 18 and above. You need to be a student registered in a tertiary institution in Nigeria. We actually have already preloaded on our database an extensive list of tertiary institutions in Nigeria. So what the student needs to do is provide us with the official email that comes in the institution that they are attached to. And then there's a back-end verification process that takes minutes, and the results are out, you're verified, you're signed up. For students that do not have or are not able to find their list on that drop-down, we also provided an option whereby if they can provide like an ID card or any other form of authentication from the institution, we will also take that to the back end to our partners, authenticate, and get them on board so they can start their journey.
Interesting there. And I hope the students will really make the most of it. Thank you, Head Government Affairs and Public Policy at West Africa Google, Mr. Dewolu Adene. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Ini.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, entertainment, live events will be our focus here in Business Morning. Please stay with us. welcome back to Watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. It's Friday, so let's do a little bit of entertainment. And today we're looking at live events. Yes, for us, the live events, you would see all those campaigns, especially the political campaigns in this season. But if, we know that the musical live events are what you remember first. Let's look at that sector this morning, and we're doing it with the road manager and head of events at the Archers, Ufia Jeremiah. Mr. Jeremiah, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So live events, I thought they were only so active during the festive season. You have them off festive seasons?
Yeah, we have them festive seasons, and then we have some mid-year during the year as well.
Oh, like what kind of event?
We have summer events, and then we have some events during Easter. So anytime there's a break, and then we can have those events at those April, like now summer, and then we have it in December as well.
Okay, so now that we're getting to the ember months, from next week,
Dirty December.
Yeah. But we have politics. We have to acknowledge that a lot of activity will be going, live events will be for political reasons.
That's the reason why I love negotiations. We can do both of them simultaneously. Everything is happening at the same time.
No, but for you guys in the entertainment, it's like you guys only focus on entertainment. You don't know there's more money in the political campaigns.
Well, there's money.
But those are human beings. Those are business people putting those things together, doing the banners, all the Ashoibis. I mean, in fact, they create theirs now. So you have the one with the candidates' pictures, the one with the emblem of the parties. That's money right there. You guys are missing out.
But I feel like those same people that are doing these things for those people, they won't say no to us on the entertainment side. They print their banners for the political side, and then they print our own banners, and they have to deliver which one first, depending on when the event is.
No, but I think you guys should switch at this time. Because this upcoming election, have you seen the campaigns? Even before the official lifting of the campaign season, we already had a lot of events. So I think you guys should refocus. So this is a business tip, and you have to pay me for consultants.
Oh, I see.
Okay, but talking about the live events now, how rich, and we know that there are different levels of jobs. You know, some people come to the event and all they see is here. But maybe you should take us a little bit backstage, help us to understand those jobs that are actually created, you know, when we see one event.
Okay, so thank you very much. That event as a whole, a major event in particular, can give job opportunities to a lot of people, not needing of your certificate, needless of your certificate. We have the cleaners, we have the security, we have, you know, the personnel, the drivers. And all of those people come to the events en masse, and some come as volunteers, some come different ways, and then we just give them those jobs, and we're like, okay, do this for us, and then, you know, we get paid, this is the token, you get your exposure, you see all of those things, and, you know, that way they come back and they want to even work and work and work. And then there are some longer term services, those industries that service the company as a whole, those ones, they get the longer term paid jobs and all of that.
But it takes a lot to give your visitors, your guests, a memorable experience. So a lot of things have to be taken into consideration. You talk about the food, you talk about, you know, just the atmosphere, the security, crowd management, and all of that. But you just mentioned now you don't really need to have a certificate. So I wonder what level of expertise or how you measure a level of expertise, you know, to get these people so that you leave a memorable experience, you know, with your attendees.
So when we talk about security, we don't just pick people from the road or buff guys from gyms here and there. We liaise with the security companies. So they give us the best hands to give people their wonderful experiences, not security men harassing our guests, you know, because that December is coming and a lot of people are flying in and they have experiences from events all over the world. So if we treat them differently here, they would put it out there that, oh, I went to a concert in Nigeria and I was treated badly by maybe the security or the bouncer or, you know, somebody on the road.
Yeah, because I mean, how conscious or intentional are we in Nigeria when it comes to shaping that customer experience? And I'm saying that not because of the big guys who are organizing the event, but because a lot of those visitors would be interacting with the cleaners when they go to the convenience, the security when they're coming in. So how much attention or training or intentionality is given to these individuals who are representing the brand without even thinking about it. They think they're just there on their own, not knowing that whatever they do is going to leave us an experience on the brand.
Yes.
So how intentional are you when you're planning to really get the right orientation, with the security guys down there, the ones who will arrange the parking of the cars, the ladies who will be cleaning the restroom, for instance, and probably be begging for money, and that's a turn off, even though we see it at our airports. But
you see it everywhere. These are things that, we have, there's an orientation that's going to be given when we liaise with these companies and they give us these people as events heads and as events executives. We will come together and then we'll address all of these people. We have like a big meeting and then we have everybody sat and then we discuss with the cleaners, we discuss with the bouncers, we discuss with everybody working in that event. We tell them the type of people that are coming, we address them and we let them know the do's and the don'ts of those events. And that way, any problem or anything that happens, they need to come and liaise with us that, oh, this is what it is and what it is not.
So as an event planner, you have a lot to consider. Your eyes has to be in a lot of places. And with all of those logistics, it means more money to be spent. So how profitable is it, organizing live events?
Well, I would say it is a sector with a significantly huge amount of money, but it is not automatic. There's a lot of risk that's taken by event organizers. And then the government as well needs to help us. Infrastructure needs to be put in place. Because if we
When you say infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure?
We're talking about event arenas. We need more arenas. Because 30 December is getting bigger. Everybody wants to come to Nigeria or to Lagos in particular for these events. And we've been using these same halls that we've been using for the longest.
But those are private investments. They're the ones charging money. Shouldn't they upgrade?
They should upgrade those spaces. And now, if you're paying for a place of 2,000, we'll be using a hall of maybe Echo Hotel, for example. We've been using Echo Hotel and it's maybe 6,000 capacity. We've been using Echo Hotel since 2017, since forever.
No, but,
for the longest.
We are not advertising it, but it's been upgraded many times.
It's that they've tried their best, but they can't upgrade the conventional sector in a way that it could take the amount of people coming into Nigeria. This December now, the number of people that came in last December would almost be doubled by this December.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure of that.
So that means they had a good experience.
They had a good experience. They have gone back to do the PR that we didn't pay for. So everybody's coming into Lagos this time. And we need more infrastructure. We need these people to give us this infrastructure, new venues, event centers, and, we'll have a swell time this December, promising.
With the political parties too.
I mean, we youths are 100% active in the elections as well. But pushing the way we're pushing our events, we're pushing the way youths should get their voters card, do the right thing, and don't come and complain after. Do your own part, vote, and make sure that your vote counts. And then we'll party on the other side, would create these experiences for you. So we're doing both of them simultaneously, So yeah.
So, but how do you deal with the transport operators? Those are outside your coverage, but they are still feeding into the experience of the guest.
This is something that we have struggled with for the longest time. And Lagos as a whole now, we have this pandemic of street urchins. The thugs and the touts are everywhere. They are coming into the events, stealing from these people that pay money. It's something else. They don't let you park your car. You can't. Before we thought it was only celebrities that have these issues because of their luxury cars, but now you can't get in your Uber safely without tipping somebody. Oh, nami park here, and then it's chaotic. So imagine people traveling in to experience that. That leaves a very bad image on it. The first thing that hits you is the fear. You're scared. He might hurt me, So what do you want? Let me give you anything you want so you can leave me. And those are things that we need to pay attention to. Lagos needs to help us do that. And then those people need to now be taken off the street so that we can enjoy our nightlife and our nighttime 100% to the fullest.
Do we still have nightlife in Lagos?
Lagos equals nightlife. When you say nightlife,
yes.
Lagos equals nightlife. We balance it. We know how to balance it. They know not to overstep their boundaries because it's in the night. And
in the night, it's safer.
I won't say it's safer, but those street urchins, they know not to overstep. They know not to overstep. They try all they can, but the police is outside doing their own job, and that's another thing we're going to talk about. But that's another thing we're going to talk about.
I don't want to talk about the police.
I'm not there.
Exactly.
I'm not there.
So as we prepare, as we get into the Ember months, we expect this live event, albeit hand in hand with the political campaign, which also brings out another level of street urchins and all of that, unfortunately. Even though the message of youths do not allow yourselves to be used as political thugs and everything, we still see that increasing. So as we step in, as we get into the Ember months and start preparing for all of this, what would you say? Not just Lagos. I know you, maybe because you're in Lagos, you keep mentioning Lagos. You know, what would you say the government can do so that we can actually really boost the revenue coming from the entertainment, the live events, and all of that?
First of all, I would want the government to not look at entertainment as just providing leisure. There's a whole lot going on. The economic sector and the tourism aspect of entertainment as a whole needs to be looked at, needs to be paid attention to, because building infrastructure around these live events is a lot of money going in there. If they build more hotels, we have more restaurants, more event spaces, we have a lot of people go to all of these places, and then there's money coming back in, because those foreigners are going to spend their money in our economy. They're going to spend their money patronizing local businesses. They're going to spend their money making sure that, oh, they take something back. They have like a souvenir, they have like an experience, they have something that they take back with them. So spending their money in our economy is something that, you know, is a plus for us. And then we should look at it more as an economic blessing, like a blessing to the economy. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we hope that some of those would be attended to. Thank you so much. And we'll see how this year goes. Pleasure and politics is what we're going to have. Ufia Jeremiah, a road manager and head of events at the Archers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. So now another round of empowering youths and entrepreneurs at the GA Elite Series 4.0 Entrepreneurship and Wealth Creation Program with the theme Entrepreneurship and Wealth Creation, Building Businesses That Outlive the Founder. Key insights at the session, which was held in Lagos, include strong culture for sustainable businesses, prioritizing building a resilient community and corporate culture over short-term gains, problem solving so that founders must establish systematic frameworks to turn real-world challenges into viable economic opportunities, as well as having legal mindsets for true entrepreneurship success measured by creating lasting value and institutions that outlive their creators.
Ensure that you have structure, you know. So having a business, again, like I've always said, it's not just about revenue and all of that, but what happens when you are not in the room, okay? Do you have cultures that are documented? Do your people understand how we do things here? How, you know, what standards we emulate, what standards we practice, okay? I gave an example of how people reach out to us, which is through the academy, and say they want to buy certifications, and then we tell them, no, we don't sell certifications. You have to go through the program, you know, and if you can't go through the program, I mean, that's it. So what happens when you have money looking at you, right? Do you move out of your standard just because you want to make money, or do you stick to your standard, right? Do you have values that governs your organization, right? Do you have policies? Do you have code of conduct? Do you have, you know, standard operating procedures? What happens when you are not in the room?
That's right, it's time to go global now. We start from the United States. Let's see how the market fared yesterday with our correspondent, Maria Bird.
Good morning, Annie. The U.S. stock market on Thursday showed some positive signs as companies like NVIDIA, Salesforce, and CrowdStrike showed some positive signs in the stock market. This also meant that the Dow Jones was on an upward tick at 0.2% up, and the S&P 500 was also up at 0.7% up, and the heavy tech NASDAQ led the day up at 1.5%. While the U.S. stock market was strong on Thursday, investors still watching for the Federal Reserve Chairman's announcement and potential speech on Friday. It is good. This could be a stalemate-making moment for the U.S. stock market.
Thank you, Marie. And still from there, NVIDIA shares we saw surged 8.7% after the chipmaker issued a bullish outlook, reinforcing investors' confidence in the strength of demand for artificial intelligence technology. The company's performance is being closely watched by NVIDIA, remains at the center of global AI boom, supplying the advanced chips needed to power data centers and generative AI systems. With AI spending remaining a key driver of technology markets, investors are now assessing whether that momentum can be sustained. And away from NVIDIA, global markets are turning their attention to Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Walsh is set to speak later on today, and investors are searching for fresh clues about the direction of U.S. interest rate. Markets are particularly focused on the Fed's assessment of inflation, economic growth, and the labor market, with any change in the central bank's tone likely to influence bond yields, the dollar, as well as equity markets. And investors have been weighing the possibility of future rate cuts against the risk that inflation could remain above the Fed's targets. And then Mr. Wash's comment could therefore provide an important signal ahead of the next policy decision and help set the tone for global financial markets. Looking about inflation in France, that has accelerated to 2.7% in August, with higher energy costs contributing to pickup in price pressures. The latest figure comes as European consumers continue to face pressure from the cost of energy and other essential goods and services. The data will be closely watched by the European Central Bank, particularly as policymakers seek to keep inflation under control without putting additional pressure on economic growth. A persistent rise in prices could complicate expectations around future interest rate moves and force investors to reassess the outlook for European market policy. And inflationary pressures are building across major European economies. Spain is also there. The rate there has surged above 4%, while France has also recorded that fresh high that we told you. The developments are raising questions about whether recent easing in European inflation can be sustained, particularly as energy costs begin to put more pressure on consumer. Investors will now be watching upcoming Eurozone data for signs of whether the latest increases are temporal or of a broader re-acceleration in prices. Leaving Europe, we go to Asia. South Korea's $1.4 trillion National Pension Fund has reported a 27% return for the first half of the year, marking a strong performance for one of the world's largest institutional investors. The results highlight the growing influence of large pension funds in global capital market, with their investment decisions having the potential to affect equities, bonds, currencies, and alternative assets. The fund has been diversifying its portfolio across international markets as it seeks to generate long-term returns while meeting future pension obligations. Online fashion retailer Shein is set to make its Hong Kong stock market debut in a listing that could provide a major boost to the city's capital markets. The company's IPO is drawing significant attention because of Shein's global customer base and its position as one of the world's largest online fast fashion platforms. The listing also comes at a time when Hong Kong is seeking to attract more major technology and consumer companies to its exchange and revive IPO activity. And Toyota's global vehicle sales have fallen for a sixth consecutive month, with weak demand in China emerging as a major drag on the Japanese automaker's performance. The decline comes as Toyota and other global car makers face intense competition in China, where local electric vehicle manufacturers are expanding rapidly and pressuring established brands. China remains one of the world's most important automotive markets, making the slowdown particularly significant for global manufacturers. The latest sales figures could add to pressure on automakers to accelerate their electric vehicle strategies and adapt to changing consumer demand in the region. OpenAI is expanding its advertising experiments in India, rolling out ads to users on select ChatGPT plans as the AI company looks for new ways to generate revenue. The move marks an important development in the commercialization of generative AI as companies face the high computing and infrastructure costs required to operate advanced AI systems at scale. India is particularly important for OpenAI given its large and growing base of interest and AI users. The introduction of advertising could also signal a shift in how AI services are monetized, with companies balancing free or low-cost access with the need to fund continued investment in AI technology. Yeah, those are the global stories. For now, just before we head out of the studio, we head to the markets at the NGX. Unfortunately, it looks like it was a dead cat bounce, yesterday's gain at the close of trade, because As early as now, market has dropped again. It's 0.06% down. That's the NGX. In spite of our FTSE Russell's rating as a frontier market, investors are still taking profit, but I'm sure they will bring it back. So the market is down this morning, 0.06%. And it's a lot of profit taking on International Energy Insurance, as well as Zenith Bank and Access Holdings. And then we see recovery on Seplat. Seplat has 10% up this morning. Sooner Assurance also up. May and Baker, Premier Paints, Prestige. But we have Total Nigeria, Presco down, Komu down, Cornell down, NASCON down this morning. So that's why we have that 0.06 red color right there. Gold is also down this morning. And then Bitcoin, I think because of that surge, we did see that investors started taking profit. Been waiting a long time to take profit on Bitcoin. So that's what they have done. So that's it. We have red colors for the markets this morning. We'll be back at 1:30. Let's see if we're going to have a change of color. Perhaps we'll have a green, by divine intervention, one way or the other. But I'll see you at 1:30 during Business Incorporated. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Talk to you then.